As a neurodivergent person with complex trauma, it's felt often like processing that trauma is a long and winding road that zigs and zags. Throughout the experience of coming back into ownership of what trauma took away from me, a lot of my memories have returned from my early life that were locked away behind a sealed vault, and often in very disorganized and scattered fashion, with my brain pushing it into my consciousness and telling me that this is very important. You should pay some attention to this experience. It's never clear why. We are meaning-making creatures by definition. It's our inherent nature. And our brain is trying to make sense of these experiences, and it needs you to play the role of chaperone, to be the person who consolidates all these memories and makes sense of them and puts them into some semblance of logical or narrative order. And the hope is through doing this, you can go from a place of disempowerment and confusion and disorientation into one kind of position of coherency and new understanding and empowerment. Your brain will revisit these memories ad nauseum until you've processed them in a way that helps you shift from that position, the first position, to the second position. It will regurgitate countless reams of memories and information in the hopes that you will reformulate that information into something that makes more sense. And when we experience traumatic experiences, it is often just a jumble of emotional and cognitive confusion. We don't know what to make sense. We don't know how to make sense of it. We don't know how to process it in a healthy way. And so the brain just kind of crams it into the basement of our mind, pushes it out of the psyche because you don't have that capacity, in your younger years, or necessarily the supports to process it. And it hoards it in the belief that at some point you'll come into a position of relative security or greater capacity or greater support so that you then can hopefully, healthily process those memories. Whether it was being teased because of your neurodivergence, experiencing parental or caregiver misattunement, being bullied or marginalized or sidelined in some way, being made cognizant of your supposed failures as a neurodivergent to meet the bar of what is considered a norm according to neurotypicals. All those little tiny experiences, these chronic invalidations over a lifetime, they might not meet the typical definition of a capital T trauma, but they are cumulatively traumatic. And the brain doesn't know how to make heads or tails of them. And in your journey as a neurodivergent in reprocessing them and adding a new narrative that is one of empowerment, understanding the demands and the effect of ableism, structural oppression on your life, and reformulating your story along those lines from one of I was a person who failed and was inferior and deficient to one of I'm actually somebody who was disempowered and underprivileged and disadvantaged and not given the support I deserved can make a huge difference in your life. That shift from believing that there's some inherent wrongness about you, that you deserve what happened to you, to one where it's like, actually, I had rights, I deserved better, and I didn't get it. It makes a world of difference, right? It shifts the needle in terms of perceiving yourself as being shameworthy and deserving of being relegated to this lower status as somebody who's neurodivergent to somebody who deserves equal rights and deserve to be given equitable treatment. To have that additional support, that box, that apple box that bolstered you so you could peer over the figurative barrier that stopped you watching a game. And I'm referencing here a common illustration used to describe what equity involves. It's not giving everybody the same thing, the same apple box with the same height. It's giving one that helps you peer over that barrier to watch a sports game. And figuratively and often it's logistically the truth. Like, you do need something to bolster you sometimes to achieve what neurotypicals might, because you have inherent challenges as a neurodivergent person. Social differences, motor differences, executive dysfunction, sensory challenges, all these things add up and they create the burden that we have to contend with on our own. And we aren't given a language or terminology, especially if we aren't diagnosed until later in life, for understanding and making sense of this. And coming into empowerment and reprocessing trauma is understanding that the fault didn't lie with you. It lied with the system that failed you. Have you been going in your life through this process of reprocessing your trauma, coming to a new understanding of yourself and the experiences that left you feeling so disempowered? Has it been bewildering processing all these memories as they come up and trying to make sense of them and try to give a narrative that kind of coheres and takes it from this kind of scattered array of different experiences to something, approaching a narrative? I would love to hear all about your experiences as a neurodivergent and navigating complex trauma.